huge updates happening to College Football 25, and we're going to go over them. And this includes gems for 3 stars, non-gems, normal players. They are definitely changing how things are operating in College Football 25, and we're going to go over it, and we're going to make sure that you guys have all the information. Okay, and in this video, we're going to be using our T4G scouting data, which is going to basically change your guys' College Football 25 experience, and it's going to cut through all the bullshit. So with that being said, guys, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't just play the game, own the game. Let's light it up. So what Madden used to be like, and we're going to test and see how much different it is now with the updates that they're doing. So if you go to the 4 stars, and we're on our T4G scouting data on our website, you can find this in the link in the description below. You can also find this data on playlist on our YouTube channel. What would happen is for 4 stars and 5 stars, if you found players within this range, so we give you ranges, and then we give you averages. If you found players within these ranges, they were good even if they were listed as a bust or if they were listed as a normal player with no bust insignia or no gem insignia. It didn't matter. They were usually going to be a player that we would recommend you go after. We would call them hidden gems. Now, when it came to 3 stars, it was a little bit different because 3 stars, the default for them, even if they hit these ranges and the CPU didn't give them the gem insignia, they would default to normal development majority of the time. Now, skill caps are something that people thought skill caps equaled gems. That was never the case, ever the case, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to actually go through all the 3 stars and we're going to test them because we already knew that 4 stars were like that, and same with 5 stars, to where even if they weren't listed as a gem, they'd be considered a hidden gem based upon our data. Okay, and we proved this time and time again. So what we're going to do is see if they changed 3 stars and they made 3 stars to where if they don't have the gem insignia, can they still be an actual gem and not just have a high overall? So this is definitely data that you guys want to check out because it's going to change the game for you. It's more important than ever, I can tell you that right now. These ranges are incredibly important for you to have access to, and our site is very easy for you. You can just click through and it's just super easy. So yeah, let's jump into this and let's see if EA is changing things with College Football 25, particularly with 3 stars. So we have 10 gems up, and then we have 10 normal players. We're going to check their development. All of these players fit our T4G scouting data, and I can tell you they have changed the requirements to become a gem. And that's not a good thing because it can mean that some of these players that are listed as gems are not actually that good. They're not bad, but they're not as good. They've lowered some of the requirements to become a gem. Our data is the original requirements to become a gem. So our players are actually better. And even these medium accuracy, or not medium accuracy, even these normal guys still fit those requirements. So these guys are still listed as gems. Even these bust guys here, they're still listed as gems, even though the CPU is not recognizing them as gems. So we know our data is correct. We've proved it time and time again. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over and see if what their developments are, also give a little bit of a range on these skill caps here. That way you guys will have all the information. You guys are going to you're going to know exactly what to be looking for regardless of what the system is telling you. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the gems first, then we're going to cover the normal players, and then the 2 busts that we have. What we should see is all the gems will have an impact or greater development. That's what it's been forever in this game. And the normal players usually have normal development. So we're going to see if that changes. But first, we want to see if the gems, if anything's actually changed with the gem players that have the gem insignia. Okay, and then we'll move on from there. So first up, we got Brad. This guy is a gem. He was listed as a gem. Impact development, he's got 15 skill caps. So in our data, we'll also show you whether or not they're a squeaker gem, meaning if they hit really low numbers across the board, our data usually says, yes, they're a gem, but like we've told you guys before in previous videos, you should find someone else because there are better athletes out there that are better gems for you in your system. So now we're on to Ruffin. He's our second gem. He's a star impact, and he's got 14 skill caps. So we're on to another gem, Connor Harris. He's an impact development, and he has 22 skill caps. So this is what we were talking about with skill caps before. They're all over the board. they're within ranges, right? But yeah, 22 skill caps, it's quite a bit compared to 14 and 15. All right, so next up we have Stefan, and he's in impact development, and he's got 17 skill caps. So now we're halfway through the gems. We're at number 5. We have Watt. He's in impact development with 21 skill caps. So our 6th gem now is Butcher. He's in impact development with 21 skill caps as well. So we're on to our 7th gem now. He's got a star development and he's got 12 skill caps. So we're on Van Ginkel now. He is our 8th. He's in impact development and he has 16 skill caps. So we are on to our 9th guy here that is listed as a gem. He is an elite development and he's also got 6 skill caps, which I find to be very interesting. The data is already showing the skill caps are kind of equaling a couple of things, but I'm not going to go over that until the very end because I want to collect all the data first, and then we could start to digest what we're seeing with this data. So now we're on our 10th and final gem, impact development, 15 skill caps. So what can we say right now from the data that we've collected? Well, the one thing we can say is we've run this test twice. So we've gone over 20 total players that were listed as gems through our data and given the gem insignia by the CPU. Now, the CPU recently has lowered the requirements for gems. We have not checked the lower requirement gems, but in accordance to our data that we have collected, along with the gem insignias that we're getting from the CPU, all 100% of those 20 gems had an impact or greater development. Okay, that's what we have found. So again, they have lowered the requirements for gems from what we can see through our data, and we have not accepted those lower quality gems. And we're not going to change our data for those gems. So what it looks like now is it's still the same, where you're going to have an impact or greater development if you come across a gem that is in accordance to our data. Before we continue, if you guys find this information valuable, please consider subscribing as we work toward our goal of 50,000 subscribers. You guys can support us if you guys want to be glorious through our Amazon affiliate links down below, or even with a super thanks, which is not something we expect. But if you guys do it, just know we'll love you a long time. And now back to our sweet and sexy topic. So we are on our normal guys here who were listed as gems. And we used to tell you guys to stay away from these guys because you could get, it would default to a normal development. So far, this guy is a normal development. He's our first guy on the list. He's got 25 skill caps, which is pretty extreme. Let me know what you're noticing with skill caps and something here. I'm not going to say it because we're going to talk about it at the end of the video, but let's see if some of you guys are catching on to what you're seeing here. So far we are now on our second normal player that was not listed as a gem. These guys weren't listed as busts. They were not listed as gems. This guy has 17 skill caps, and he's got an impact development. So already so far, that is an anomaly compared to what it used to be. So obviously they are changing something in the back end. Something is going on because this is not something that was normal previously. So now we're on to our third normal player that was not listed as a gem nor a bust. Impact development with a total of 14 skill caps. So now we are on to our fourth normal player. He's a normal development with 23 skill caps. So we are halfway through the normal list here. We're on our fifth player, and we got a normal development with 21 skill caps. So we're now on to our sixth normal player. We got a normal dev and 22 skill caps. So now we're on to our seventh normal player. He's a star dev with 17 skill caps. Pretty good. So we're now on to our eighth normal player. We got an impact development with 17 skill caps. So we're on to our ninth one here. Impact development, 17 skill caps, just like the guy previously. So our 10th and final normal player, we got a normal dev with 21 skill caps. So now we're on to the two busts that we found that were still listed as gems. Good overall, but still, for a long time, we would have recommended you stay away from these guys, especially if they were 3 stars. Normal development, and you got 29 skill caps. So we're on to our last bust here. This guy hit every low marker you could imagine. He was not a guy that we would recommend going after. Even our data would say, like, hey, look, there's better guys. Even if he was listed as a gem and not a bust, our data would have said, basically, stay away from this guy. He's not very good. And yeah, that's a lot. 25 skill caps. That's a lot. So let's go over our findings here. Every single gem that was listed as a gem that was also listed as a gem in accordance to our data, not the new gems where they lowered the requirements. No, we're talking about our requirements for a gem. Every single one that fit with our data, along with listed as a gem by the CPU, all 100% had an impact or greater development. So the next part about this is the normal guys that were not listed as busts, not listed as gems. They were just normal, but our data showed that they were gems. Half of those guys had an impact or greater development. Half of them, which is fantastic. It's actually great because that is not how it used to be. 4 of them had impact development, 1 had a star development, the other 5 had just normal developments. So what'd you guys notice with skill caps in this data sample that we showed you guys here? Well, it's based upon ranges, and those ranges are in correlation with development. Normal development players had anywhere from 21 to 29 skill caps. 29 is an outlier. That is if you get a guy with 29, you're unlucky. The data is showing that for sure. Impact development players have anywhere from 14 to 22 skill caps. Star development players had anywhere from 12 to 17 skill caps. And the only elite player we had 6 skill caps. So to finish this off, what we've noticed is they have lowered the requirements for gems. We did not pick those gems up. If they did not fit within our ranges, they did not make it. And we came across at least like 3 or 4 of them, and we noticed that they were outside our ranges, and we don't trust that. EA has burnt us too many times. We're not trusting those gems whatsoever. So our ranges we know are good because all 20 of the gems that fit within our ranges all had an impact or greater development. Every single one of them. Now, with the normal players that fit within that, half of them were an impact or greater development, okay? Half of them. So you got about a 50% chance, which that is new. So a couple of things here. They lowered requirements of gems, and on top of which, they made it to where now the non-gems, 50% of them are likely to be an impact or greater development, which is new. When it comes to the bust, again, inconclusive for 3 stars, 4 stars, and 5 stars. We've already seen before, and if you want us to test that out, and enough of you guys comment down below, we'll test it out. But we've seen even bust or normal players end up being really good if they fit within those ranges. Not always, but again, we have seen it. I would say a good percentage. I'm not going to give you an exact percentage, but because right now at this moment in time, it could change. So I don't know what the exact percentage of that is. And also skill caps are in direct correlation. Their ranges are direct correlation with development is what we have seen. So hopefully you guys like this video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, and we'll see you in the next one.